Well, good morning, good morning. Good morning from Massachusetts. Hello, hello, everyone. I should say good afternoon and good evening as well, depending on where you're watching from. And if you're watching the recording, thank you for taking time to catch up on what you missed. I'm going to take a quick check on my laptop to make sure that audio and video are good. You can also give me an okay or a thumbs up in the chat to let me know. Ah, now it looks better. Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning from Massachusetts. We're ready to start. I had the wrong screen on. Now we're ready to start. I almost felt like a Monday. Have you felt that way? It takes a good half hour to get started and feel like you're fully functional and focused. Are you guys morning people or are you night owls? Do you function better in the early morning or do you function better at night? If I get a good sleep, I can function in the morning, but I do prefer the evening hours. Usually that's when I feel like I have energy. How about you? Who's there? Stunning Lad 1 was the first one. Hello, hello. Then Juan Kurd from Kurdistan joined us. So glad you liked the lessons on intonation. And Guavrai came. Arturo, hello from Honduras. Glad you're here. Abdelaziz, did I say it right, Mustafa? Thank you for being here. Night owl. Gurav Rai is a night owl. How many of you are night owls? Do you like the evening hours or are you early birds? Do you wake up with the morning sun? I honestly cannot wake up without an alarm, so I'm not an early bird. It takes me a while to get started. Looks like we're good. Okay, guys, so today we're going to be focusing on how to use sophisticated vocabulary. That's our main focus, and I will say that I had a poll and my YouTube members, some of them, voted and helped me choose this topic. So I think we'll try that moving forward. So I'd like some input and I'll go to my members first to get some ideas. And I'll throw some of my topics out there and get you to vote on the main topic for our live streams moving forward. We'll see if that approach works best. And I'll still open the floor to questions. So we'll have some Q&A. I will try to keep track of the comments going through. If I overlook something, just never fear, wait and try posting a little later. And it should catch my attention, okay? Yeah, lots of night owls out there. Hey, Ma Hippo is here. Up late, I know what time zone you're in. Thank you for staying up late. Abbas Ali is here too. Hello to you. Okay. All right, guys. So let's take a look at what we have planned. Let me get my correct screen out here. Hopefully I'm clicking on the right buttons so you can see what I see. They say live stream, but there's always a bit of delay. So I'm also looking at my laptop to make sure that the delay isn't too significant. And I am going to apologize in advance. So I don't know if this happens to you. They recently did service in my area. They called it maintenance on the internet and phone and cable and all that. So the company came out to our street and they gave me a notification saying, we're here to improve service. And that all sounds great. But then after that, I feel like there have been more problems. So during my lessons, for example, the screen freezes. It says your internet connection is not stable. Like, if the company came out here to improve things, why are there problems now? So then I went through their service and I was texting, trying to see if we could resolve this issue. And I don't know if you find this experience to be exasperating. There's a good word. Frustrating, exasperating, upsetting. When you can't talk to a human representative, and I'm just like texting with this chatbot assistant, explaining that these improvements have not improved anything. In fact, I feel that the connection has become less stable. So all I could do was restart the modem, restart my computer, and they say, your connection looks great. And of course I did the speed test, and it does look great when it works, but I don't know what the issue is. There isn't much more that I can do at this point. So my fingers are crossed that we will have a strong, steady connection today so that we can study together for a good 30 to 60 minutes, okay? I always promise at least a half hour. I usually like to go to an hour. If you need to go, just come back and catch up. Okay, so you can tell me your your sob stories. We call them sob stories. If you also get frustrated with your internet service sometimes. Yes, I do. Okay. Oh yeah, John Kurt, you as well. So the internet is wonderful when it works, right? Okay. All right. So as you know, I do love movies and I do love TV shows, and they provide such a wonderful context. So that's where we're going to start today, is with a new TV miniseries that I watched. And if you remind me, I'll tell you where I'm going this evening to take in some more entertainment on screen. So there is a TV miniseries out there. Perhaps you can find a way to watch it if this genre interests you. And has a very different name, no words, only numerals, 11/22/63. And you can watch a trailer on YouTube to see what it's about. Maybe you can catch some scenes too. 11/22/63. So you need to know American history to know the significance of this date. And by the way, this is not normally how Americans write dates, but you know, it is a possible acceptable format. So November 22nd, 1963. Who was the president? John F. Kennedy. So 11/22/63 is a TV miniseries centered around or based on the events of JFK's assassination. So what we're going to do is I have a basic paragraph about this series, and each sentence is written separately with basic vocabulary. Our job together is to elevate these words, to elevate the wording. There are no mistakes grammatically. We're just going to use more sophisticated words because that's the goal a lot of you have. You know a lot of common words, but how do you make your speech or your writing sound more sophisticated? And what I'd like to do is show you a number of online resources to build vocabulary skills. And I will say I will include ChatGPT a little bit, but I want you to have full awareness of the resources out there and how you can use them, because I don't want you just to blindly accept whatever some bot gives you. I want you to be able to think for yourself and make choices, wise choices, informed choices. So that's what we're going to do. Go through sentence by sentence and elevate the wording. Sound good? Rosie, hello, hello from California. Liliana's here. Hey, hey, hey. Greetings to you. Okay, first sentence about this TV miniseries, 11/22/63, is that certain events in history make us curious. Okay, so the first resource I'm directing you to is an online dictionary. There are regular dictionaries and there are learner dictionaries. Both serve a purpose. Learner dictionaries can be very helpful in explaining grammar. Both should give you examples. Both should give you pronunciation models. The learner's dictionary is going to explain grammar and probably give more examples and patterns called collocations, like common combinations with other words. So let's take a look at this one. I'm going to copy and go over here. And let's see if I can get to the right page for you. Hopefully you'll follow me. I'm also looking at my laptop. How many of you know this dictionary? This is Longman. I'd suggest bookmarking it. It's the Longman Dictionary of Contemporary English online. I also have the Longman Dictionary of American English in book form. Okay, so I'm here looking at the entry for curiosity. Again, you'll see the grammar. You want to pay attention to how they're using it, like curiosity about, there's an idiom, collocations, right? Common combinations with other words. This might even still keep curiosity, but maybe I'll find an interesting combination with other words. Arouse, ooh, that's a good one. Arouse, right? Arouse is like stimulate. Pique is also a good one. They're very similar. Make someone want to know. So both arouse and pique can work here. So we might choose one of these. So let's go back here and think certain events in history. Instead of curious, we can change that to curiosity. Do you like arouse? Do you like pique? I kind of like pique. Do you? Certain events in history. Let's change this to pique. Pique, and then we're going to change this to pique what? Our curiosity, right? And do be careful. Curious and curiosity. Watch the spelling, right? Manuel, I was up last night watching Olympics too, but yeah, if you're over in Europe, you're in a better time zone for that. It's been fun watching, huh? Okay, so note these down. We're also going to be keeping a list of the words that we're learning, and if there are collocations, we'll copy the whole phrase. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is copy this new sentence because we're going to look at the full text that we created when we're done. And then we want to pay attention to words and collocations, right? Words and collocations, not just pique, pique what? Pique our curiosity. So when you learn new words, try to learn collocations, learn a whole chunk of language because it's easier to build sentences with chunks rather than little bitty, itty bitty pieces called words. Try to go for phrases. Okay. The other thing you can do, and you can do this in the comments, is use the word pique. Pique your curiosity. What piques your curiosity? Okay. Whoops. I apologize. I have a dry throat. Oh, hopefully I won't choke and cough. 2. The assassination of JFK is one such event. What really happened? Just to show what you can do with ChatGPT, you can ask for specific levels, like, can you please write this sentence or rewrite this sentence at the B2 level, at the C1 level, and you can see variations, what level of sophistication you're going for. So I asked ChatGPT, can you write this sentence in a more sophisticated way? And ChatGPT told me a more sophisticated way of saying what happened could be, could you please elucidate the events that transpired? Woo! So they're giving us 2 words here to consider, right? Elucidate and transpired. Do you know these words? Have you used them? My tip here is be careful not to overload your speech with formal, low-frequency words. Like, it's good to have a few and sprinkle them, but if you load your writing or your speech with too many of these high academic or formal or sophisticated words, it can be off-putting to a certain audience, so you have to be always mindful of who you're writing for, who you're talking to, because a lot of the time simple plain English does work, but there are opportunities and situations where it's very appropriate to use sophisticated words. You want to be articulate. You want to show that you're an intelligent person and can express your ideas very accurately. But if you're trying to show off your vocabulary, that doesn't usually serve you well. So there's a word of caution there. So I look at both words and think, maybe I'll just take one of them, not both of them. So I look at transpire. Here's another learner's dictionary you can note, Collins. Let's take a look and see what Collins tells us. Yeah, furnish me with the details. Not something you'd say in everyday English, right? You'd just say, what happened, right? Transpire, let's go a little bigger here. Transpire, they say, oh, look, word frequency. Okay, this is important, guys. So some dictionaries have a visual aid, and they'll tell you how frequently a word is used. And that also helps you decide whether it's appropriate or not for whatever text you're creating or whatever speech you plan to give. So if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's on the low end of frequency. If you compare this to happen, look how high it goes. It's number 4. So not among the very most common, but happen is one of the 4,000 most commonly used words versus transpire is it's occasionally used, looks like one of the 30,000 most commonly used words, right? And you'll find similar patterns for elucidate. So again, just pay attention to word frequency and don't overload a text with too many low frequency words. Another tool that you can check out are Google Ngrams. Have you ever seen this? Oh, and by the way, whoopsies, we're getting an ad here, which I don't want. By the way, occur, what happened, whoops, sorry, not spelling mistake. Occur. Oh, look at that. Occur is very frequent. So again, you might either just keep what happened or you might say what transpired. Let's go to Ngrams and I want you to see how this works. You can put 1, 2, 3 phrases in and see how frequently something is used. So for example, happen, transpire, and what was the other one? Elucidate, elucidate. And you can see the graph. Look at that. Happen is way up here. So it's a very common word. And elucidate and transpire, it just confirms how low they are. If I take out happen though, let's see if you can just look at these two words. Elucidate is used a bit more. Okay. So again, just pay attention to the frequency of a word. And my advice is not to overload your speech with too many of these because it starts to sound a bit too much like you're a walking dictionary. And that may not be your goal, right? Articulate, yes. So I might just choose one of these words and say transpired. What transpired? Another clue here is pay attention to words like really and very. You may not need them, especially in formal writing. It just makes your speech more wordy. And also, if you really want to emphasize it and you're at a more formal level, I might suggest exactly. What exactly transpired? Or you can take it out. What transpired? Okay, so we're going to take this and put it in our paragraph because we're building a text here. I'm going to take transpired and add it to our list of words that we're learning or that we will practice. Okay? You're welcome, Malik. Manuel? Yes, ChatGPT is used by many. From a lecturer, like a Nobel Prize winner, right? If that's not exactly who you strive to sound like, then, or maybe you do. So you need to choose your words very carefully and always be mindful of who your audience is. There's a time to talk plain and simple, and there's a time to really elevate it. So we are going for more sophisticated vocabulary today. At the same time, it doesn't mean you have to overload a text or overload a speech with a lot of low frequency words. It is told that will transpire. Tarantino. Yeah. Okay. All right. Number 3, now imagine the possibility of changing history. Would the world be a better place? Okay, and I'll tell you again, so for context we've said certain events in history pique our curiosity. The assassination of JFK is one such event. What exactly transpired? Now imagine the possibility of changing history. Would the world be a better place? So this TV miniseries, 11/22/63, is about a possibility, an opportunity to change history. A man travels back in time and has the opportunity to try to stop the assassination. And would that be better for the world? Would that be better for American history and the global history? It's something to think about, world history. So let's consider this, changing history. Another resource you can come to, and of course, yes, you can use ChatGPT, but there still is something called a thesaurus. And a thesaurus is a wonderful place to go for synonyms, words that are similar, as well as antonyms, words that are opposite. And the reason why I would direct you here rather than just to ChatGPT is because I want you to think for yourself too. If you're listening now, your English is obviously at a high enough level that you have a good amount, at least, of passive vocabulary. And going to a thesaurus, they'll give you a list of synonyms to choose from. And it might help just to look at the list and say, ah, yeah, that's a good word. I know that word. It just did not come immediately to mind. But a thesaurus will help you recall those words. It will jog your memory, we say. Jog your memory. Okay, so let's take a look and see if we can find a more sophisticated synonym. Changing history. So we're at thesaurus.com, and we're going to go to the verb. I'll go a little bigger. Look at that. Do you know these? Look at the strongest matches. Adjust, alter, evolve, fluctuate. Okay, so do you evolve history, fluctuate history? No. Maybe adjust or alter could work. Adjust or alter might work. Let's think about that. Adjust and alter. And you think, okay, well, I know both words. Maybe I can decide if one of them suits the context better. Adjust and alter. So here's yet another learner's dictionary, Britannica.com. Used to be Merriam-Webster's Learner's Dictionary. It's been renamed as Britannica, but I still recommend it. So here I see alter. Means to change. You can change a mood. Oh, look at the examples. The examples give you ideas for context. And I see this third example is about history. This one small event altered the course of history. I'm thinking, that's the context I'm using it in. So this could be appropriate. Compare it to, what was the other one? Adjust. Adjust. And it's to change in a minor way, so it works better. I'm like, stopping the assassination of a US president is not minor. That's pretty major, right? So by going to the thesaurus, we saw a list of words. We saw alter and adjust being recommended first. Then we went to Britannica and we saw the context of these words. Where are they used? How are they used? And so it helps me decide that alter is probably a better variation. So I'm going to change this to, now imagine the possibility of altering history. Okay, so I'm going to put this here. We're building a paragraph, and our word is alter. And I am going to put the whole grammar, so meaning you're going to see that this one needs an object. It's good to remember not just what the word means, but how do you use it. Okay. So imagine the possibility of altering history. Would the world be a better place? Okay. Yet another resource I want you to be aware of is the academic word list. How many of you have heard of that? How many of you have used it? You could also Google exercises, practice tests or practice tasks for the AWL. This is a word list, which means it was put together with a lot of thought and research. And these are the most frequently used, the most frequent academic words used. So they are high frequency words in academia. If you're studying in an English speaking country at the college or university level, these are the words that you should know in order to function well. You'll be reading them, you'll be writing with them. You can say, yes, I know it, if you're familiar with the academic word list. Okay. What is for British English? Is that BE, British English? Longman is wonderful because it gives both British and American English, and that really helps me because I work with students in different countries, from the UK to Australia, and sometimes I need to double check whatever they say or write. Is that British English? Is it correct? Because I'm like, wait a second, that doesn't sound natural, but when I check, and Longman, it confirms that's an acceptable variation. There's also Cambridge and Oxford. I have them bookmarked for the US version. But again, I have probably like 5 or 6 dictionaries at least bookmarked. And that's another suggestion I have, is find a number of dictionaries that you can turn to, both for pronunciation, for spelling, for grammar, and for examples. Okay? The academic word list, guys, is a very important resource, both for teachers and students. I would recommend Googling academic word list exercises, academic word list practice tasks. There are different websites that have provided resources for the academic word list. And again, these are words that you should know if you want to function in a college setting, or you want to have the level of a college student in an English-speaking institution. Okay? Collins, Oxford, Cambridge. Yep. Okay. All right, so let's take a look, and I want to show you something, because we used altered. And sometimes I showed you word frequency, but you might be thinking, okay, but how do I know if a word is worth learning? I would tell you, those of you who aspire to be B2, C1, and beyond, these words are probably like B2, B1, B2, around there. Okay, you need to know these words. Okay, so look, you could do a Control F, alter. Alter's there. It's number 5. I'll go a little bigger. There's alter. Adjust. It's there. So it's just a resource that you can look at and confirm that yes, it's maybe not a super high frequency word because it's not used in everyday casual conversation, but at the same time, is it a word worth learning? Yes, it is. Okay, so this is overwhelming to look at lots of words. There are other websites that create sublists, and so you can go through the sublists, giving priority to the higher ones, sublist 1, sublist 2. So again, you can Google that. And if you remind me, members, I can maybe recommend a couple of websites on the community tab where you can find free practice. Okay? So again, it just confirms that alter and adjust are both possible choices. We used the Britannica dictionary to confirm that alter suits our context best. Both words are worth learning. Both words are on the academic word list. Okay. Yes, I like Merriam-Webster too. It's one of my favorite dictionaries. Okay. The TV miniseries 11/22/63 is an interesting drama about a man who travels back in time to stop the assassination of JFK. But maybe this is just fate. Okay. It is very interesting. It's like about 8 episodes, and my son and I watched it over the course of a week. It's an interesting drama. I'm going to let you guys suggest a synonym. See what comes to mind. Also, you can quickly go to a thesaurus and see if you can find something. I'm also going to challenge you members to suggest another word for stop, right? Elevate it. There's nothing wrong with this sentence, this statement. But if we want to elevate our wording, I would suggest changing words like interesting, nice, good. These are very common words, and they're fine, but they're not very dynamic, exciting words because they're quite common. So we can challenge ourselves to replace interesting and stop. And while I'm waiting for suggestions for interesting and stop, I'm going to take a moment to focus on fate. Maybe this is just fate. How is fate used? There's another wonderful free resource called justtheword.com. How many of you know that one? If you don't know it, you know it now. Let's take a look. So you go to Just the Word. It is, by the way, Nina, based on the British National Corpus, but it's very helpful no matter what variety of English you're speaking. I'm American, but I use Just the Word sometimes too to look at collocations, meaning commonly used combinations, phrases with words. So you type in a word like fate and they'll give you the noun and they'll show you common combinations. For example, look, avoid fate, escape fate. And the longer the green line, the more frequently that phrase is used. So suffer a certain fate. What decides fate? Seal fate. Seal, right? Like an envelope. If you still mail letters the old way, you put a piece of paper in an envelope. You either peel a sticker or you have to lick it and you seal the envelope, right? But seal, fate. Fate is sealed. It's like decided or determined. So I like these: avoid, escape, Seal, that's interesting. I like that. Okay. And oh, here's another interesting you can do. So let's say I like seal. I'm going to look at that line. It's pretty long. Once you click on it, you can actually see where they took these examples from. Now, this is very overwhelming when you see it. You don't have to read all of it. You pay attention to how the word seal and fate are used, right? Seal the fate of. Could have sealed his fate. Seal the fate of. I'm seeing that a lot. Seal the fate of. See how that's used? Seal the fate of is used a lot. I also like avoid fate, escape fate. Those are all pretty good. Meet fate. That's nice. Let's look at avoid fate. So avoid, and they put adjectives. Avoid a similar fate. Avoid a terrible fate. Avoid the deathly fate. Ooh, those are good adjectives. So you can also look at examples and see if there are combinations that you like. Narrowly escape a fate. So keep looking. Befall. Ooh, look at this one. The same fate. Befell, befall. You know the word fall. Fall, fell, fallen. Befall is it happens to you, but the way it conjugates is the same and the forms are the same, right? Befall, befell, befallen. I like this. Look at that tragic fate. And you can do combinations. So again, the idea is you type in the word fate, you look for these different clusters, and the longer the line, the more frequent that cluster is, that combination. And you can click to get ideas. So we have avoid, escape, seal. I like the adjective tragic. Isn't that interesting? So we come back here and we think, maybe, but maybe the president's tragic fate either is sealed or cannot be avoided, or maybe the president cannot escape this tragic fate, something like that. So you see there's different possibilities that we gained. Oh, I just saw your comment, Liliana. Make sure you have the right spelling. Peak. I'm going to go back here because I want Liliana to see this. Liliana, that's for you. P-I-Q-U-E. Pique, our curiosity. Okay. All right. So I'm suggesting, but maybe. And maybe is more everyday. If I'm going for more sophisticated, more formal English, instead of maybe, I would suggest perhaps. Perhaps the president's tragic fate cannot be avoided. Okay, so I got that idea from just the word. Yes, it took a bit of digging, but again, I'm giving you tools, showing you how they can be used, and then you can elevate your writing, your speech, using these tools and making decisions and not just being handed something from something like ChatGPT. I want you to be able to think for yourself, so that if you also get a suggestion from ChatGPT, you know how to evaluate it. You can go to dictionaries to check out words. If they're giving you something like, will you elucidate how this transpired? You're like, whoo, does anyone talk like that or write like that? And you can check again for frequency. Is that high frequency or low frequency? Do I want to be using that many low frequency words? All right, I'm looking in the comments to see if you guys suggested synonyms for interesting and stop. Destiny or fate. They're very similar, aren't they? Destiny, I usually think of like something positive, like I think of back to the Future, right? I'm your destiny. Fate could be good or bad, but fate almost, especially if there's something bad, it could be, it sounds like fate. I think destiny makes me think of future. That's another, if we have time to dig into that, we can look at the differences between fate and destiny. Did I make a video on that? I might have. I have to think, go back and look. I think I've given some thought to that before, fate and destiny. Again, you go to the dictionaries and you look at collocations. You can go to Longman, you can go to Britannica, you can also go to just the word and type in both and see how people are using it, and then find the use that is most similar to the context you're in, that you're writing in, or that you want to speak in. Okay? Intriguing and halt. Ooh, thank you. Halt. So halt is a possibility. We could do halt. Is there another suggestion? Halt. Halt, though, you want to be careful because halt might mean to stop and then move forward. So, like if I'm the general of an army and I'm leading all these soldiers, I say, halt. Okay, and proceed or something, whatever the command is to go. But halt might be a temporary stop, so possible, but maybe there's something more accurate, because in this case, we want to stop it 100%. Any other ideas? Peek, peek. If I missed it, guys, you can type it again. Okay. I was thinking, and again, you could go to the academic word list, you can go to the Thesaurus, and then to the academic word list to confirm that it's a word that people use in academic texts, for example, in academic writing. I might suggest prevent or avert could work. Are you familiar with those? They're all very similar. And again, you might go to a dictionary, check out examples, and see what examples are most similar to the context we're writing in. Right? So halt. Halt is possible, but again, just because it may suggest a temporary stop and not permanent, I'm going to take it out of the running and focus more on prevent and avert. Prevent is to stop, and avert is like pushing the flow of events in another direction. You avert it, you stop it, prevent it. So a prevent and avert might be my choices. Okay. And what else did you have? Intriguing. Okay. I like that. No other suggestions? Intriguing. Fascinating could work. It's not as sophisticated as intriguing. So I do like that suggestion very much. Okay, so let's copy this and we'll select just one. I'm going to go with intriguing. Either one could work here. Prevent, avert. Okay, so I'm going to take both in our word list. And I'm going to do avert simply because I think it's probably less familiar to some of you, for some of you, and I want you to learn it. Okay? So what have we learned so far? Prevent and avert. Okay. So we wrote the TV miniseries 11/22/63 is an intriguing drama about a man who travels back in time to avert the assassination of JFK, but perhaps the president's tragic fate cannot be avoided. Or here's a choice. You could do something like this. You could say prevent, and then you could put averted here. Let me just put that as a possibility. Look, if you like this variation, you could put prevent here, and then you could put averted in the passive, like that. Isn't that interesting? Possibly, but okay. 5, the main character Jake assumes that the world would be better if JFK had lived. His mission becomes endangered when he begins to seek personal happiness in the 1960s. Someone said pervert. Pervert the course of justice. I don't know if I'd use it in that context. Okay. Okay. What am I showing here? I want to take the opportunity to present yet one more word list called the university word list. I would say if there are any word lists you guys are familiar with already, it may be the academic word list. But the university word list is also a useful resource, also a list that was put together of the most commonly used words at the university level. Again, you could Google to see if there are exercises or practice tasks based on the UWL. If you remind me, members, I can probably give a link to such a site for free practice. So if you're aiming to learn words and you don't know which ones are worth learning, the academic word list, the university word list are resources you can turn to confirm that, yes, these words are used in more formal writing, academic texts primarily. So if you come here, I'll show you. Assume, mission, and seek. Let's go here, and you can take a look at this word list. Yes, it's a lot. It's overwhelming. But again, let's do a search for, is assume? Look, assume is there. Assume. What was the other one? Assume, I don't know, seek? Oh, seek is there. Mission, no. But what was the academic word list? I'll show you. So I would check one or the other if it's on the academic word list or the university word list. That helps you understand that mission is mission here. Maybe not. Or, again, where else could you say, like, maybe I should go to, let's do Collins and check out mission. I think a lot of you are familiar with this word, but look, it's at number 4. It's worth learning if you don't know mission. But okay. So assume, mission, and seek are all good words to learn, right? The main character, Jake, assumes, right? He's making that conclusion without all the evidence presented, that the world would be a better place if he had lived. His mission becomes endangered when he begins to look for personal happiness in the 1960s. Okay. Oh, yes, that's what I wanted to show you. Cambridge is yet another learner's dictionary that shows frequency. So there's Collins, which gives it a 4 out of 5 rating. And this is Cambridge, but it's the US version. And let's see, look at that. Mission has 2 different meanings. Like, who am I thinking of? Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible. Like, this is your mission. Should you choose to accept it? That's like C2 level. It's like, a spy has a mission. But your mission, like the mission of a company, for example, it's work that you believe, it's your duty to do, your obligation, it's your calling. That's a B2 word. So you know your level. If you're listening to me right now, you're probably at the B2 level or higher, because we're doing quite a lot with high-level words, and I'm not filtering my speech for you. So it tells me that, yes, you should know this word, mission. And again, Collins, I'll go down here, or this is Cambridge, also gives some nice resources, not just the examples. The Thesaurus, right, also gives you some synonyms, more examples. You could click on that for more examples. Okay? Lots and lots of free resources out there. Okay, I want you to know these words then. And we're going to add it to our list here. You should know assume. You should know mission. And seek. And again, I'm going to keep the grammar. Seek what? You need an object. Seek personal happiness. Okay, last sentence in our text here. In the end, Jake will have to choose between happiness and responsibility. It's perfectly fine, no mistakes, but happiness and responsibility are high frequency words very commonly used, and we want to elevate this. So I'm asking you to suggest possibilities for those words. Let's first look at happiness. What can we use besides happiness? Bliss, contentment, enjoyment, pleasure, prosperity. That's nice. Bliss is the first one. I like that one. Bliss is a possibility, and responsibility. What do they suggest? Authority, no. Burden, duty, I like that. Obligation, duty and obligation. Do you like those? Yes. Well, this is an introduction to a lot of resources that you may not have been aware of. What you can do is start bookmarking them and start becoming familiar with them. Okay? Yes, good point, Manuel. Seek. Look for is a phrasal verb. It's possible to use phrasal verbs in academic English, but they are more conversational in nature. Do you remember the word we saw? Bliss. Maybe. Or pleasure, right? Between bliss and, do you like obligation? Do you like duty? Either one could work. I kind of like duty more. Like, he feels it's his duty to do it. It kind of connects more to mission. So obligation is a possibility, but I kind of like duty. Okay. All right, we're going to wrap up. And look at our revised text. Okay. Certain events in history pique our curiosity. The assassination of JFK is one such event. What exactly transpired? Now imagine the possibility of altering history. Would the world be a better place? The TV miniseries 11/22/63 is an intriguing drama about a man who travels back in time to avert the assassination of JFK, but perhaps the president's tragic fate cannot be avoided. The main character, Jake, assumes that the world would be better if JFK had lived. His mission becomes endangered when he begins to seek personal happiness in the 1960s. In the end, Jake will have to choose between bliss and duty. How do you like that? Okay. Words to learn and words that I will have my members practice in a follow-up task are these ones. Those of you who are not members, you can click join now and become a member and get access to the follow-up tasks. But even so, all of you can take note of these words. Peak, transpire, it's a verb. Altering history, another verb. Prevent, avert, assume. Mission, seek, bliss, duty. Right? These are words to practice, words to learn. You have recommended dictionaries now, like Collins, like Longman, Britannica, and you can see examples. The best way to review right now is to look at the definitions to clarify what it means. You write the words, listen to the pronunciation, say the word aloud. Write the definition down, and where you're writing, that's your choice. It could be a actual notebook that you're writing in. It could be a Word doc. You choose, right? Or some of you might like using flashcards online. Okay. Write examples. Write our example sentences. Create your own and use the collocations or the models from the dictionary to help guide you as you create your original sentences, so you can be sure that you're using these words correctly. Okay. So I showed you the academic word list and the university word list. I will point out that yes, there are other word lists that you can check out. Again, there are so many words to learn, but you need to know which words are worth learning. So those of you who are, let's say, B2 and higher, you should pay attention and look at AWL, UWL words and make sure they're at least in your passive vocabulary. Okay. And if you are taking a chunk on your own and studying them, I would suggest a small group at a time, 10, 15 words at a time at most, and practice them. You might even take 5. It takes time to get through these lists, and you give priority to the higher lists, the higher sublists. There are also GRE words. GRE is for the graduate records exam. So if you want to apply to a graduate school here in the US, you usually have to take the GRE. Everyone has to take it. I took the GRE a long time ago, before graduate school. There are a lot of words that are in my passive vocabulary and I don't even use. But again, these are words that you should have some familiarity with. This is like C1, C2 level. So you could always Google GRE words. And again, you might look for resources that group them into the most common the 400 most common GRE words or the 600 most common GRE words, and give priority to the smaller lists rather than the large ones. The general service list is for lower levels. It's like the first 2,000 words that you should know. And I just want to give you a quick look at what that is so you can judge for yourself the importance of these words. I'll zoom in. And you can see how easy they are. We're talking with the, be, of, and, to. Like, you need to know these words. You cannot function without these words. There is an older GSL and a newer general service list. This one is the older one, I believe. But let's say if I'm scrolling down to around the 700s, 800s, again, frequent, rock, loss, burn, hang. I would assume everyone listening to me right now knows these words. There, by the way, is prevent. Okay. Going down to around 1,000, struggle, failure, rich, belong, application, reign, review, preserve, leadership. Not all the words. There are some, I would say, words I'd be like, you don't really need that one. I see clay. By the way, my oral reading fluency playlist has original text that I wrote, and all of the texts use words from the GSL. I chose words that I felt you need to know, and I use those words. So when I write text for my oral reading fluency series, I let this GSL word list guide me, and I choose these words because they're high frequency. You need to know them, okay? And again, there's about like 2,000 of them, okay? All right. Whew, how was that? So how did we elevate our sentences? We used a lot of different resources, and you don't need to use all of them, but especially for one project. But I wanted to show you the possibilities. There are a lot of free resources out there to help you, to guide you. You just have to know why they're there, what purposes they serve, and then how you can use them to elevate your own writing or your own speech. Okay. Okay, Manuel, we'll be winding down soon, everyone, but let me take you to the final task. By the way, if we just did a high-level review of that TV miniseries, don't forget I do have a free download, guys, of my movie reviews. It's like a movie power pack, and that's completely free. I would say that's more at the B1 level. B1, maybe B2, but lower level words, because I wrote in a conversational tone. But you can listen and read along. There are different reviews, 10 of them, and you can also get access to a vocabulary list. So if you like movies and TV shows, this is a free download that I'm offering. You just go to my main YouTube channel, click on the About, and you'll see the links there. Let me think I have that here, for example, guys, right here. So if you click About, see, these are all the links. So there's my free movie power pack. This is also free. And then this one is another bundle you can check out if you're interested in contractions. Okay. All right. So the final thing, we have just a few minutes left. there was a request about idiomatic language, idioms, right? Idioms are always good to learn, but there are many of them. So you want to be careful. And again, you learn just a few at a time, learn them in context. And similarly, like I said, you don't overload a sentence with a lot of low frequency words just to show off how many big words you know. That's not the goal. Be careful with the idioms too. They're fun, they're colorful, they help create your tone and your style, but don't overload your speech with them. Okay, so let me show you this short little paragraph that I wrote, still based on that concept of time travel. You know, would you travel back and try to change history, like stopping an assassination? So this shows you 3 places where I find there is an opportunity to use idioms. And then I'll show you how a text could be revised. And instead of overloading the text with idioms in every single sentence, we just sort of sprinkle them to color the text. Let me read this version without any idioms. Okay, I'll take a sip of water. Today, there are countless movies and books about time travel. Each has their take on the laws of the universe. Does changing the past alter the future or simply create a parallel dimension? Has reality already fractured into multiple timelines based on every possible outcome, even without a time traveler interfering? It's overwhelming, isn't it? Okay. Countless movies, interfering, overwhelming. It's all fine. But now listen to this version. There are more movies and books about time travel than we can shake a stick at. Each has their take on the laws of the universe. Does changing the past alter the future or simply create a parallel dimension? Has reality already fractured into multiple timelines based on every possible outcome, even without a time traveler throwing a wrench into the works? It's enough to make your head spin, isn't it? So it's a little more colorful. It also becomes a bit more conversational to have these idioms. Okay, so in addition to the more academic vocabulary that I listed, there are 3 idioms that you can become familiar with. More than you can shake a stick at, throwing a wrench into the works, and make your head spin. Okay, where could you find idioms? One is the free dictionary. Did you know that there is a dictionary entirely for idioms? Shake a stick at. So you can come to the free dictionary and look up an idiom. You could also put in a phrase like, passion, love, money, and they'll show lists of idioms that relate to that idea. So when you have more than something you can shake a stick at, it's a very large number. A very large number. More than we can shake a stick at. When you throw a wrench into the works, there are some dictionaries that recognize idioms. The regular Merriam-Webster's dictionary is one of them. Throw a wrench into the works. It's informal, right? It's to damage or change something in a way that ruins it or prevents it from working properly. This is merriam-webster.com. Yet another one, we're back to Longman. Longman is a nice place for both phrasal verbs and idioms. So this is the same one. Again, it just confirms that it's American English informal. There's also the nice variation shown of British English. That's why Longman is useful. If you are exposed more to British English, I like Longman because it recognizes both varieties, American and British. Okay. And again, I do like the free dictionary to confirm meanings, specifically of idioms. So if something makes your head spin, it makes you feel dazed, bewildered, or shocked, right? It's very overwhelming. Whoops. Okay. So once more than we can shake a stick at, throwing a wrench into the works, and make your head spin. Right, look at that sentence. It's enough to make your head spin. By the way, there are 2 contractions which also, especially this tag question, makes it very conversational. And if you'd like to work on contractions, right, I do have that bundle. You can download it. It's not free, but if you like the free bundles that I've already offered, this is one more, and I loaded it with even more bonus materials. It specifically focuses on the pronunciation of contractions. So if you need to train your ears to hear the contractions and you also want to practice saying them in a very natural way, then I would encourage you to check it out again. So the goal would be to say something like this very naturally. It's enough to make your head spin, isn't it? Okay. All right, we're going to be winding down. Q&A. Remember, members helped me decide the topic. They voted. We chose sophisticated vocabulary. A member asked about idiomatic language. We got it. There's going to be more practice now on the community tab, and they're also getting short little quizzes each week. So if you'd like to become a member, just click join. I'll thank my members right now. Thank you for being a part of the membership program, and thank you also to those who are on Patreon. Even my kind-hearted patrons are helping me keep things going. So thank you guys. All right, we're going to be winding down. I will take a quick look at the chat to see if there's any burning question that I missed. Oh, thank you for the super thanks, super sticker, stunning lad one. Okay, don't see any questions being posted. Thank you all. Thank you for taking time out of your day. Even if you're watching the recording, thank you for choosing to study with me. I hope this was useful. Know that there are resources out there to help you elevate your vocabulary. You can use more sophisticated words. Know what the resources are, know how to use them, and do it one step at a time, right? We just worked with a short little text today, and you saw if you put the effort in, you can elevate it on your own. It takes time to go to the different resources and think about the different suggestions, the different recommendations, the different possibilities. You make your choices and then you revise your text. It's a very good exercise to do. So I would suggest if you're practicing on your own, first review all the words that we had today and the 3 idioms, right? Review the meanings. There are dictionaries to help if you need to confirm the meanings, look at more examples and create your own. The second thing you can do is write a text of your own. Think of a movie or a TV show that you saw, that you liked, and write even just a short sentence, 5-6 sentences. Keep it simple. Just write what comes to mind. Then go back and try to elevate some of the words. Again, the goal isn't to pack it with high-level vocabulary, but you can take opportunities here and there to make it sound more sophisticated. Challenge yourself. Then yes, you can go to ChatGPT and see what they would do with your text, but I would encourage you to do it first on your own, looking at the different resources. Then you see your revised text and then ask ChatGPT to take the original one and elevate it to maybe the B2 or C1 level, and you can compare. Okay? Just an idea. All right, wishing you a wonderful weekend ahead, and thank you. Happy studies.